everyone, welcome to Teensy Vintage. This is Teresa, and just want to say hello to any new viewers. Welcome, and welcome back to everyone who has been here before. I really appreciate you coming back. Today's video is me making a series of little vignettes on catalog cards. Catalog cards from old library cabinets. I have a stack of these, um, and I spent some time last week using my gel plate to make colorful designs and prints on them. And so this week I am using them and some Tim Holtz paper dolls to just make some little vignettes. It's been a rough week, and I just needed to do a little art therapy for myself. And I'm using the Tim Holtz paper dolls because they're black and white, and they're a really nice contrast to the really bright cards that I made. I've even pulled out a die-cut tree, but the tree doesn't make it. It just wasn't really working for this. And that's okay. Tree goes back in the pile for next time. But I've got 7 cards that I really like. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. So I'm kind of just auditioning all of these different cards, seeing which ones I really like and which ones will work. Yeah. So I've pretty much picked out my 7 figures. One set, oh no, 2 sets have 2 figures, the little girls in their winter coats and the other little girls in their costumes. And now I'm just trying to figure out, do I have the side of the card that I really like? And I do. So now I'm going to use a little bit of scrapbook paper with some text on it to kind of add some more interest, some more layers to these. Not every card gets extra stuff added to it, but a few of them do. And so I'm just gonna add in some of this text paper where it looks good and just kind of add or breaks up the space on the card. I'm just eyeballing all of this, just trying to have a little bit of respite from the relentless news and just trying to make these cards look as interesting as I can without overwhelming the eye, because there's a lot of stuff going on. And you'll notice I'm not using gesso this video. Usually I use gesso to kind of push back some of the brightness or the busyness into the background. This time I just left the brightness as is. I really wanted some very loud cards. And here I am. I'm auditioning some more pieces. These were some other cards, and I had used some dies to get some special shapes, some stars, some stamps, um, some leaves, all these things. And I don't end up going with any of them. Um, I'm even checking the big box obits to see if there's anything in there that would work. I found a dictionary page. I'm looking specifically for some more die cuts, and I find a couple of those Polaroid frames, um, and a few round mechanical looking die cuts and some border pieces. So I'm just pulling out things that look interesting that might work and putting them here to the side. And let's see if any of that works. A lot of this is trial and error. I obviously did not go into this with any kind of plan other than I wanted to use the paper dolls. So those all stay, but the other pieces, they might not, I don't know. These loosely form a set. I wouldn't necessarily look at these and be like, "Oh yeah, this is a set of 7." It it is and it isn't. It is in the sense that I made them all at the same time and I'm using a lot of the same materials. And they each have a paper doll. So yeah, in that sense, I guess they are a set. But they're all pretty different. So I kind of like that. I like the fact that it, is and isn't a set at the same time. Just makes it more interesting, I think. Um, there are a lot of similar colors used simply because they were all made in the same um, printmaking session, so that's cool. But as you can see, some of them a little more yellow, some of them pretty blue, some of them pretty pink. But yeah, they all kind of work. All right, so now that I've got all of the dolls picked and some other sorry, not textual, texture, textural elements picked out. Ooh, English. I'm going to use a little bit of stamping to add even more interest because some of these just need a little something to break up some spots in the background. So this one I'm adding a strip of numbers. Um, and I just feel like that will give a little more visual interest on the right side of this particular card because the left side has got a lot of detail going on. And then I'm going to use some art glitter glue to adhere the paper doll to the card. I was using my glue stick for the, really delicate paper, the dictionary page, and the die cuts as needed, just because it just is easier to use a glue stick on, if you're gluing a piece of paper to another piece of paper. If you're gluing cardstock, you can use a glue stick, but I find that it's just easier to put a little bit of the liquid glue on there. You do you. Whatever works for you is great, but for me, that seems to work best. So yeah, I'm using two different glues here, and I'm just doing it because I find it easier. And then I just want to make sure that this little paper doll is stuck down firmly. Um, and these two little girls are so cute. I'm like, this needs one other thing. So I pull out this other piece of scrap paper. You can see I used it when I was making some tags. And now I'm going to take this piece of bright yellow. I tried it with the blue dot, but the blue dot wasn't working. So we get rid of the blue dot. Yeah, it just needed a little something. And so we're gonna glue that little bit of yellow paper down. Yeah. And it looks cool because it's got a spritz of yellow ink on it. It's actually green paper. So it's a neat texture piece to add as well. There we go. We glue the gals down. So cute. They kind of remind me a little bit of my nieces. And again, apologies for sniffles. My allergies, as always, are terrible. Oh, goodness. So now we've got this little girl in her winter coat. She gets a piece of text, some book text behind her. And that book text had a little bit of paint on it. This lady, she has two pieces behind her. She's got the blue circle. That is from a Paper Rose die kit or die cut kit. It was a mechanical type set. It was really cool. I think you can still get it. As always, I'll put the description for all the materials in the description box below. But yeah, those dies are really great, and they're just, I don't know, I just really like adding them into my collage pieces. So we'll glue this lady onto this pink card with blue polka dots. Since that whole card was, very similar, I just figured a little text would be a nice contrast. Now, this card to me looked really great as it was, so I didn't add anything to it except the two little girls. I think that turned out really nicely. And here's our final card with our one fella, and he gets a piece of dictionary page and a blue die cut as well. Just going to smooth that out there. You could use an old credit card or a gift card to spread out your to make sure that all of your pages are nice and flat. You don't have to have a plastic chunky thing. I think I got that thing from scrapbook.com years ago. It's just a big piece of flat plastic that I use to make sure that you know everything that I've just glued down is nice and flat. Okay, everything is adhered. Yay. Just gonna make sure I've, blotted up any excess glue. And they are old card catalogs, so catalog cards, sorry, y'all. So there is a hole in the bottom. I just want to make sure that the glue wasn't going through the hole. Now I'm going to do just a little more stamping. Now that I have things glued down, there's a few cards that I want to add some numbers to. And I'm using this Creative Expressions stamp set. This is a Sam Poole set. Um, it's a great set of old-fashioned numbers called Numbers from the Past. I think it came out this summer. It's a lovely set. I have used it on all kinds of stuff. And so here I am. I'm using some Archival ink from Ranger. This is Graphite, a beautiful gray. It's their darkest gray. I love this ink pad. Also using Archival ink in jet black, just to get a little bit of variation here. Some gray, some black. Again, it's just visual interest, artist choice. Make your art the way you want to make it. And sometimes I use different ink colors. Even though one's gray and one's black, you're like, what's the big deal? I don't know. To me, it just looks interesting and cool. Okay, so now I'm going to add some sentiments. And I pull out a Tim Holtz sticker book here for this first card, and trim it. And I'm going to go ahead. Now, this one is already sticky, so I'm just going to stick it using the adhesive. The adhesive on this pad is pretty good. And the other thing I like to use is cutouts from book pages. Now, these book pages in particular, I had used on the gel plate. So they've got ink on them. And some of them, it's pretty easy to still read the text. And so I went ahead and used that, and I will outline them later because you can't really see some of them, right away. But yeah, I go through here, see if there's anything that would work. And I'm kind of looking for phrases that express frustration and disappointment because that's how I was feeling when I was making these. And I found some. Yeah, this page has pink and orange uh, paint on it, which I think kind of it looks cool. It'll be a nice little contrast. It's definitely more interesting than plain white. Not that there's anything wrong with the plain white. The white will definitely stand out when you are applying it to a very colorful background. But, color on color is great too. Excuse me. Yeah, even finding some words on the back of these pages, so they will be white. These pages come from a tacky old novel that I found at the thrift store for about a dollar, and it's a large print book. So the font is a little larger than normal. Gosh, I'd guess it's about a 20-point font instead of a 12-point font. So it's nice. It's just a little bigger than usual, easier to read. It's a Reader's Digest edition, and it's got all kinds of stuff in there. It was actually two novels in one, and they're kind of tacky airport books, as I like to call them. So yeah, again, I found something on the back side of this print, which is great because the blue was kind of dark. It's hard to see the text. And I'm using my tiny scissors, but some reason they weren't really working well for me. So I pulled out the big scissors and just using a little bit of glue stick here to adhere all of these little tiny pieces of paper to my card. Yeah, there we go. And we've got our last card here. And I was looking through these 3 sheets that I had on the desk, and I wasn't really finding anything. So I went ahead and pulled out the book itself, which sits behind my desk, and just flipped through for a minute, and literally something caught my eye, and I was like, "Oh, that'll work." So yeah, don't think too hard and don't spend too much time. I mean, something will catch your eye. So yeah, I would just quickly cut it out and trim it, and then yeah, a little bit of glue, and there you are. And wiping off any excess. Yeah, my glue stick is getting down to the very bottom of the stick, so I'm gonna have to replace that soon. Okay, so now that I've got all my sentiments glued on, I'm gonna go around the edge of each card with some Distress Oxide ink in Villainous Potion, which is a beautiful dark purple. I just wanted to finish the edges because to me it just looks better rather than the white edge of the card. And now I'm going to use a little bit of yellow paint. This is a Dylusions paint. It's very translucent. I've added some water to it to make it even more watercolor-like. And I'm just adding some yellow paint to spots on the cards that just need a little zing. Um, you know, and just brightening up a couple spots that maybe didn't have paint on them, so it was like some white space or some negative space, and just trying to highlight things that I wanted. So that one I highlighted the text. This one I'm highlighting that little piece of book text behind the paper doll. Um, just to give it a more cohesive look. And again, I am kind of linking these 7 cards together with this yellow. So I'm highlighting the sentiment because it was on a dictionary page. And then I'm just going around the page and adding little bits of yellow just to brighten it up and kind of make the card, a little more showy. I was feeling very showy. We're going to give them yellow shoes. We're going to touch up those little tiny white spaces on the card. Just anything that, didn't pick up paint from the gel plate last week. All right. So those are all looking really good. Going to clean up my workspace here very quickly. And I am thinking this is looking good. Yeah. So I'm going to get out an ink pen. This is, let's see what pen I'm using. Oh yeah, I'm using my, um, let's see, my Pigma Micron from Sakura. It's an archival ink. It's black. It's a big, it's a big pen. It's an '08. And I'm just going to sign these. I've outlined a few of the sentiments that needed a little more definition. And yeah, there we go, y'all.